Viewers, we once again continue to focus on the Shraddha Walker murder case. Remember, today, Aftab was produced in court. He didn't go there physically, but his appearance was made possible over a video link, a Zoom link, in fact. And his custody with the Delhi police has been extended by 5 days. So the police wanted 10-day custody. The courts have, at least for now, extended the custody only by 5 days. The police has decided now to take Aftab to 2 other states where apparently Aftab had visited to ascertain why he went there and if there were others who helped him. Well, viewers, let us begin with some pictures. The pictures that you see on your screens on top are exclusive to Times Now. This is Shraddha Walker, a carefree college student. These pictures date back to 2018. In these pictures, she's sharing a lighter moment with her friends, and as she laughs along, viewers, there is no sign of any impending stress in her life. As I said, this was in 2018, 4 years before the alleged assault, blackmail, and finally the alleged gruesome murder. Now, about a year later, in 2019, Aftab entered her life, changing it forever. Police say that he has now allegedly confessed to killing her, chopping her body into pieces and disposing of the parts bit by bit. Today, amid chants of Fasi do, Aftab got no relief. A Delhi court has extended his police custody and given a green flag for even a narco test. Many people are wondering why a narco test should have been necessary if, in fact, the police are claiming some breakthroughs with regards to the collection of forensic evidence. But viewers, many people are saying this is no ordinary crime. Times Now also has been piecing together the murder mystery and decoding the psychological profile of Aaftab Poonawala, speaking to several experts. What we have been able to access, viewers, are food bills, are details of his online activities. Sources in the Delhi police have also relieved chilling details of how Aftab not only chopped up the body of his friend Shraddha, but possibly also got gratification post the murder by going out there and consorting with other women. Viewers, a large number of friends are not surprised. These are friends, of course, of Shraddha. Times Now spoke to some of them who reveal the abuse, assault, and emotional blackmail that she was going through. They said that from time to time, Shraddha would confide, but found it difficult to leave because Aftab would say that he would commit suicide if she left him. Well, viewers, there are also now some reports that this relationship was so toxic that the end was perhaps inevitable. Listen in first, viewers, to what Shraddha's best friend Shivani Mahatre had to say. It's the first time Shivani Mahatre has spoken to anyone in this detail. Listen to this.
She only mentioned that he used to hit her very badly. That's the thing. She only mentioned it, and that was before 1 year. It's been now 1.5 years. 1 year before this happened. So after that, we were not in contact at all.
So Shivani, you are saying 1 year before, 1.5 years before you met her, and from that time he was hitting her. So see how badly.
There was no reason actually. She mentioned that from small things also they used to fight and all. So she didn't mention the proper reason. I didn't ask her. I only told her that if this is the problem, this is the case, you should leave him. Because he wasn't that close to me later on. When she met me after 2 years. And then I couldn't force her to do anything because that was the first meeting after 2 years. So I can't tell her like, proper ekdam haq se ki, do this, do that. I only suggested her that this is not fair. I think you should leave him. And she was like, okay, I'll think about it. I'm thinking about it that I'm gonna leave him, but then he loves me and he always, gives me, like, I'll do suicide and all. He always blackmails me. So, like, I think he'll do that. So I can't leave him.
Okay, blackmailing also. He used to blackmail also.
Yeah.
Okay. And tell me,
that was the reason she was not leaving him.
If you see in the news, if you see in the news, her body was in the fridge. So, what do you really think she mentioned about the drug element that he used to take and did all that?
No. Like she never mentioned it, but I think he must be doing it.
लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं अब जिस तरह से अभी ये हादसा हुआ ऐसा लग रहा है कि शायद वो हमें क्योंकि किसी लोगों को बताइए जो काफ़ी क्लोज थे, लेकिन हम भी थे उस समय, शायद ये गलती हुई कि हमने उसे ज़्यादा कोशिश नहीं किया बातचीत करने की, लेकिन वो अपने रिलेशनशिप को लेकर शायद बताना नहीं चाह रही थी. कहीं ना कहीं ये भी कारण है.
Well, viewers, as details emerged, more gruesome details that is, we have seen a spontaneous outpouring of anger, first by a group of lawyers, and I'll show you pictures of that in court, where certain slogans were being chanted, demanding instant justice. Let's pull out those pictures also there. Let's boost the audio on those pictures. Hang Aftab chants were ringing out inside the court complex just before the hearing. Listen to the demands that are being made, viewers. There were also protests, viewers, in Chhatarpur area. That's where, of course, in Mehrauli, that is, in South Delhi, where the couple had been staying. And those protests are still continuing into the evening. Most of them have been held by Hindu groups. And listening to what was said during those protests, placards of all sorts have been put up. And essentially, viewers, the demand is that there should be immediate death penalty for Aftab-like cases. That is what is being sort of demanded, and you heard that. Also, the protesters believe that this demand for immediate death in cases such as this is the only deterrent. Listen in. Okay, can we boost the audio on some of these protests also that take place in Mehrauli? Do we have that, or we don't have that? Okay, we don't have that, viewers. Sorry about that. It should have been there because you would have got a sense really of what the public there was demanding. Those protests are still continuing. We've had live visuals all through the evening. But the point is that a shocked India, at least in some capacity, is not being able to contain its anger. And this is the reflection of that. I want to open this up because obviously, viewers, this is opening a whole new can of worms. In the past also, we have, after especially the Nirbhaya case, we had some public protests, and I don't know if these will, in this particular case, will go nationwide, but certainly in the Nirbhaya case, the scale was completely different to all of this, and it led to various changes in the law, etc., etc. Now, are the demands here that are being made valid by the protesters? That's a question that obviously will come up for debate, and we have Sanjay Hegde, senior advocate, with us. We also have Vinod Bansal, the national spokesperson, the VHP, Nirmal Kaur, a former IPS officer, among others. Let me first begin with you, Mr. Vinod Bansal. Now, many people are saying, Mr. Bansal, that why is a religious angle being injected into what appears to be a straightforward crime of passion, etc. Obviously, it's very diabolical, it's very gruesome, but essentially it's a crime of passion. So why is everyone making this about religion? Mr. Bansal.
Actually, this is not the one and sole incidents, Rahul.
Okay.
Yeah. These are the chronology of the event, actually. The chronology of the incidents which is being happening throughout the country. आप देखिए कि ये कोई अकेला घटना होता तो आखिरकार झालावाड़ के कृष्णा वाल्मीकि को नहीं मारा जाता, जयपुर के खेमचंद महावर को नहीं मारा जाता, अलवर के योगेश जाटव को नहीं मारा जाता, अलवर के संपत बैरवा को नहीं मारा जाता, झालावाड़ की पूजा मेहरा को क्यों मारा गया, बांसवाड़ा के गौरव प्रकाश भट्ट को क्यों मारा गया, पाली की सारिका को क्यों मारा गया, भीलवाड़ा के आदर्श तापड़िया को, चित्तौड़ के रतन सोनी को और कन्हैयालाल साहू को क्यों मारा गया। ये तो केसेस मैंने बताया वो जो कि हिंदू लड़कों को या हिंदू युवकों को मारा गया। अब मैं आपको लव जिहाद के केसेस बताता हूं जो वो हीनियस क्राइम हैं और जो उनके तथाकथित शौहर या लवर ने मारा, जिसको आप कहते हैं लवर, मैं उसको लव जिहादी बोलता हूं। वो कौन थे? लखनऊ का लव जिहादी नदीम था जिसने सीमा सोनी को मारा था। इलाहाबाद का अदनान जो था हिना तलरेजा को मारा था। कोटा के रिजवान ने अंतिमा को मारा था। राहुल दिल्ली के अशरफ ने खुशी को मारा था। मेरठ के साकिब ने एकता देसवाल को क्यों मारा था?
बंसल जी।
रोहिणी दिल्ली की लाइक खान ने नीतू को क्यों मारा था?
बंसल जी,
ये बेसिकली एक लंबी लिस्ट है, एक लंबी फहरिस्त है।
बंसल जी एक मिनट, ना तो पुलिस ने इसमें, neither has the police injected a forced conversion angle into this in its FIR, neither are they investigating that. We know that Shraddha was living voluntarily with this individual Aftab. She in fact left Maharashtra with him voluntarily. There was never any talk about conversion. Even the family has thus far not come out and alleged in express terms that this was love jihad. Many people are saying that you are today trying to communalize this for political gain, and therefore to come out now and say that, you know, people...
Not at all.
No, but then explain to me, if the parents, I mean, if the parent, the relatives are not claiming this, if the friends are not claiming this, why are you claiming it?
नो उनके फादर ने साफ कहा है इसमें ये जो लव जिहाद के एंगल से इनकार नहीं किया जा सकता, साफ कहा उन्होंने। और एक फादर ने कहा है, कल कहा था, मैं आपको वीडियो बाइट पे दिलवा दूं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, लेकिन क्वेश्चन ये है कि देखिए बात वो नहीं है, बात ये है कि जो इंसिडेंस है बेसिकली, आप देखिए कि अगर उसका इंटेंशन प्यार का था।
बंसल जी, लुक, आई एम नॉट स्टॉपिंग यू फ्रॉम प्रोटेस्टिंग फॉर capital punishment or anything. The problem here is the father was asked in the course, he spoke to us also, in the course of a TV interview, he was asked, look, is this a case of love jihad? And he said it could be. He didn't say it definitely is. He said it could be. Neither has this been denoted by the police to frame a case. Now, you are making this claim and you are saying that crimes of this category, the only deterrent is death sentence, right, Mr. Bansal? Or are you making a claim that any case,
not only that,
in any case where there is murder under 302, there should be an automatic death sentence because that's the only deterrent? What exactly are you saying? Because right now I don't want to go into this Hindu-Muslim angle. I'm sorry, because there is no proof. If you can bring out the proof, you know, submit it to the police should add that.
नहीं राहुल, मैं आपकी बात से सहमत हूं। देखिए बात यह है कि पुलिस की एक मजबूरी है, क्योंकि दिल्ली के अंदर कोई एंटी कन्वर्जन लॉ नहीं है। आप दिल्ली के आसपास के अगर राज्यों की तरफ देखोगे तो उत्तराखंड, उत्तर प्रदेश और हिमाचल प्रदेश और हरियाणा के अंदर ये एंटी कन्वर्जन लॉ है, एंटी लव जिहाद लॉ है। इसके कारण वो जो लव जिहादी हैं उनके लिए दिल्ली सेफ हेवन बन गया है, और वो आराम से जाकर के यहाँ आकर के छुपते हैं और लव जिहाद करके चले जाते हैं आखिरकार। आप देखिए कि ये जो पैटर्न है, मैं आपको बताता हूं। आपने कहा कि लेट मी एक्सप्लेन यू। मैं ये कह रहा हूं दो बातें नहीं, बिल्कुल आई एम आस्किंग फॉर द डेथ, नॉट ओनली डेथ। मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं कि इसके जो कॉन्स्पिरेटर्स हैं, ही इज नॉट द अलोन पर्सन। आप देखिए कि ये जो हत्यारा था, जो क्रूअल हत्यारा था, उसके साथ में कौन कौन लोग थे। कौन सी किताब है जिससे पढ़कर के उसने ये 35 टुकड़े किए?
अच्छा, okay.
आखिरकार कौन सा वो मदरसा है जहां से ये चीजें पढ़ के आया आखिरकार? और कौन सा वो मौलवी है जिसने ये शिक्षा दी? बिकॉज ऑफ द रीजन, लेट मी क्लियर यू, आखिरकार जो आप कह रहे हो ना कि लड़की
नहीं, विनोद जी एक मिनट मेरी बात सुन लीजिए ना, जस्ट लिसन टू मी 30 seconds. See, okay, you are demanding death in this case. You are saying that this is allegedly a case of love. You are definitively saying this is a case of love jihad, even though the police have not mentioned this under the express sections of the penal code. You are saying that is because in Delhi there is no forced conversion law, etc., etc. Okay,
because of lack of the law.
Okay. Now wait. Now in the Bilkis Bano case also, sir, where a Muslim lady is raped, there are convictions, and a young child is killed. You and other groups are demanding that those people should be freed. So people will say, why two separate principles are being applied?
No.
There is there is 1 second. There is also Dera Sacha Sauda Ram Rahim. He also raped, he also murdered. He is today out on bail. So why are we applying the principles selectively? That's a question that many people are asking. He's on parole, sorry. And he's, holding satsangs, etc., etc. So I'm only asking you, is there an inconsistency? Are we getting carried away now, or we are attributing motives for political reasons? That's a fundamental question I'm asking you, Vinod ji.
नहीं राहुल जी, मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि आप जो है ना जी, वो जो 35 टुकड़े करने वाले नृशंस हत्यारे भेड़िए के बचाव में आप इतने कुतर्क गढ़ रहे हो, मुझे ताज्जुब हो रहा है। आपके जैसा विद्वान पत्रकार और उसको जस्टिफाई करने की कोशिश कर रहा है। आई एम सरप्राइज्ड टू नोट।
सॉरी,
हाँ, मैं आपको बता दूं, देखिए जो आप कह रहे हो ना कि लड़की जानबूझ कर आई थी,
when you start losing, no, 1 second. When you don't have an argument to give me, don't attack me. I have not attacked you. I've only asked you questions. Don't get personal with me. I don't like it.
No, I'm not attacking.
No, 1 second. 1 second. Mr. Bansal, neither have I talked about your experience. Neither have I talked about your qualifications. I'm only asking you, as an anchor, a specific question. Are we being selective? You can choose to not answer the question. You can say, no, I'm sorry. It doesn't apply. There is no similarity between X case and Y case. Don't attack me. I don't like it, and it will not be tolerated. Please.
Definitely.
You keep this. You keep this kind of tone and tenor with other anchors, not with me. Please listen to me, Bansalji. I am very respectful to everybody. I call you. I don't call you Vinod. I don't call. I call you Mr. Bansal. I'm being very. No. I'm being very. No, hang on. Just a minute. I'm being extremely responsible. And you need to be responsible also. Hang on. 1 minute.
Don't be personalized.
No. I'm not being personal. You're being personal. So I'm telling you. I asked you a question. You gave me a reasonable answer saying that, okay, these laws don't exist in Delhi. No, 1 minute. Listen to me. You said these laws don't exist in Delhi. So we should not be applying this law. The Delhi police has no reason to apply the law. I said, okay. But I want to ask you, right now, there is no evidence to suggest. I'm not in any way creating a rationale. I believe this person should be given the strictest punishment under the law. There are precedents where people like Dhananjay in 1994 was sentenced to hang. Fair enough, hang this man. I'm only saying that are we extending the logic too far on the basis of zero evidence? That's all. That's all I asked you. That's all. I'm not being personal with you. I can ask you that question. But let me open this up. Okay, let me open this up, Bansalji. Let me open this up. Let me ask the other side. Let's bring in some other point of view.
राहुल जी, मुझे आपने 1 मिनट भी अनइंटरप्टेड नहीं दिया।
आप 4 मिनट ले लीजिए।
आप इंटरप्ट करते रहे, लेकिन बात जो मैं जस्टिफाई करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं, जो मैं कहना चाहता हूं, मैं वो जवाब नहीं देने का मौका नहीं दिया।
आप बोलिए सर, आप बोल लीजिए। फिनिश योर पॉइंट।
मैं ये कह रहा हूं, देखिए, दिस इज द जनरल पैटर्न ऑफ जिहादिस्ट फोर्सेस कि लड़की को, हिंदू लड़की को पहले फंसाते हैं, फिर उसके बाद में उसको रेप करते हैं, उसके बाद उसको जो है लिव इन में रखें या शादी का झांसा दें या शादी कर लें, निकाह कर लें, उसके बाद उसको नारकी जीवन जीने के लिए मजबूर करते हैं, और उसके बाद में या तो लड़की खुद आत्महत्या कर जाती है और या फिर उसको मार दिया जाता है। दिस इज द जनरल पैटर्न ऑफ द लव जिहाद। आप देखिए कि राहुल जी ये मैं आपको बताऊं ये एक नहीं दर्जनों केस
ओके वन सेकंड
मैंने आपको कुछ दृष्टांत बताए थे आपको और इसको आप चाहे लफ्ज़ मानो या मत मानो लेकिन दिल्ली में चूंकि कानून नहीं है इसलिए पुलिस नहीं कह सकती कि लफ्ज़ याद है
ठीक है ओके सो दैट्स योर क्लेम दैट्स द रीजन व्हाई द पुलिस हैव नॉट गॉन अहेड and filed cases under the forced conversion. I'm not going to use the word love jihad, viewers. You know that I don't use that term. Forced conversion is what is being alleged here. There is no basis for this claim right now. It is only a claim. Anyone can make claims. Let me bring in Sanjay Hegde on this point. Sanjay Hegde, here we have a situation where a whole bunch of people are out there in the courts, lawyers, your own colleagues, some of them, who are using this phrase, which I don't like to use. Secondly, viewers and Mr. Hegde, there is also a demand. Now let's focus on the demand for death in cases such as these, whatever that means. Now, there are some precedents that I would like to bring to your notice. One is, of course, the Dhananjay precedents, where the Supreme Court upheld the death penalty, saying, and this is an important one, justice demands that courts should impose punishment fitting to the crime so that the courts reflect public abhorrence of the crime. The courts must not also keep in view the rights of the criminal, but also the rights of the victim of crime and the society at large while considering imposition of appropriate punishment. Now, if you were to extend this logic of the Supreme Court, then all these people who are making these demands would constitute the will of the public, their wishes. So why should we not act on their wishes and therefore, in such cases, whatever they might be, perforce give the death sentence? Would you like to respond to Mr. Vinod Bansal?
No, I'm responding to a lot of people who say that if you shout loudly, then you impose a death sentence. That's not how the law works. The law does not work by opinion polls. The law works on the basis of evidence. Then the law has a standard called the rarest of rare cases. In the rarest of rare cases, you look both at the facts of the crime as well as the facts of the criminal. You draw up a balance sheet of aggravating and mitigating circumstances, and then you go to that classic formulation where the lesser punishment is unquestionably foreclosed. In this particular case, I would not rush to judgment. Let the evidence play out. At the end of it, let us see where the balance finally comes down. Today, as far as the facts are concerned, so far which have come out in the public domain, I don't know whether these facts can be proven in court. They were in a relationship. They met on a dating app. They lived together somewhere in Western India. Thereafter, they shifted to Delhi. Shortly after shifting to Delhi and moving into Mehrauli, which is a rather crowded area, the girl died by strangulation. Thereafter, for a period of nearly a month or so, the body was disposed of in various parts. Today, what we have is a statement which is alleged to have been given to the police, which is not admissible in court. The police are, on the basis of the statement, conducting an investigation, trying to corroborate it. They seem to have found some blood stains there. They have sent it to the forensic laboratory to confirm whether it is indeed human blood or any other blood. So this is at too premature a stage to say that it will ultimately end in the death sentence or not end in the death sentence. And as far as my professional brethren are concerned who are shouting in court, etc., they may have their reasons. But at the end of the day, whether it is Aftab or whether it is Ajmal Kasab or anybody else, whoever is facing a trial for a capital offense is entitled to the best defense which the courts can provide. I myself have had, as a prosecutor, I think I've got about 7 death sentences from the Supreme Court. And I was amicus in the Nirbhaya case also. So on the death sentence, I My position is rather nuanced. My position is that except in the case of terrorists who can then be freed by other terrorists, something like a Kasab, I don't think the death sentence is warranted anywhere else.
Let me get former IPS Ms. Nirmal Kaur into this. Ms. Kaur, where do you stand with regards to the demands that are being made? Sanjay Hegde says that, look, he has a nuanced position. He can't speak for the rest of his colleagues. But in his view, terror cases, yes, but perhaps not in others. Where do you stand on this and the basic claims that are being made? And obviously, the entire sort of religious dimension that is being attributed to this particular case. Do you think that holds, Ms. Kaur?
You know, this public outrage is just a reflection. You know, it's a reaction to the kind of, the barbaric crime that has been committed. Not only the girl has been killed, she's been killed in such a weird way. And, after that, disposing of the body and in such a cool-headed, calculated manner, such a premeditated, cold-blooded murder, and to end such a young life. And, it's very obvious that they were in a very, she was in an abusive relationship, obviously, and she wanted to leave. They said, if you put a frog in boiling water, it will jump off. But if you put a frog in water, in normal water, and you slowly increase the heat, it never jumps off. It will die there. So this is what has happened to her, and she has died there. And I think it's rarest of the rare cases. Maybe being an advocate, he speaks in a diplomatic manner, but it is rarest of the rare cases. I don't think any more gruesome case, that deserves. I think even the terrorists are kinder to people who just shoot them. If you shoot someone, it's much kinder. What he did to Shraddha is much worse, much more cruel, and it is rarest of the rare cases. And I think it deserves, but it is just by saying that it is deserved from media reports, it doesn't mean that first police will have to tie up the crime to this person. Yeah. As of now, I don't know how it has been tied up, and what results they have. And I think also this investigation by the media or investigation in full media view is not too, it doesn't go too well for the police also, for the investigative people also. But considering the outrage on the case, media is following the story, bite by bite. And the religious angle you spoke about, I would say that is, if a girl meets a boy and they fall in love, okay, the whole world loves a lover. I'm all for it. And let them get married, whatever religion they are. If one is from Timbuktu, one is from Shadra, I don't mind. Nobody minds. No human being minds. But if it is done in an organized manner, as a sustained campaign, over a period, over and over again, I would say that is objectionable. That is objectionable. That's highly objectionable. And to think that, like our kafir women, they have to be brought into the fold. They have to be brought into the fold, or for the considerations of, one has come across documents wherein they say how bringing in one kafir woman is going to change the demography. There are serious extrapolated geometrical progression by calculations like that. If you're calculating so seriously into the future, say 20 years from now, 30 years now, what is the impact of that girl coming into the Muslim fold? Those kind of calculations, and agencies or terrorist organizations or who give money for this kind of work to boys, I think that is objectionable. Otherwise, falling in love, I'm all for it. May love in the nature increase, but this was not love. Obviously, this is not love. At one point, I heard you use a word like crime of passion. Where is passion in this? He's a cold-blooded, calculating murderer. Passion. He's not capable of any emotion at all. Even if you put a rose flower or a killed child in front of him, you kill a child in front of him, it's not going to affect him. All of you are speaking so much about narco test. I don't think that on such people, from whatever limited I have made out from media reports, narco test is going to be of any use, or any truth serum can bring them out. I have my doubts about that, but I cannot have any final word. It's just my gut feeling that it's not going to help the police much, except if they find solid evidence that ties them up to the crime. And DNA evidence is clinching evidence. That is a very excellent evidence,
So we'll talk about whether evidence can be recovered after such a long time and the feasibility of all of that in just a few moments with you, Ms. Kaur, because you have great experience. But let me just quickly bring in Mr. Kamruzaman Chaudhry. Mr. Chaudhry, the question that both Mr. Bansal and Ms. Kaur are raising is of forced conversions. And they say that there is now a lot of evidence. You've had the courts in Kerala, you had the Kerala government rather, talk about this forced conversion. They've used the word that I'm not going to use on this show. The Supreme Court, a short while back, just a few days back, raised the red flag over forced conversion, saying it poses serious threat to national security. And it also said that the center must do something to bring in a stricter law, which is exactly what Mr. Bansal says they are arguing for in those protests that you can see on your screens. So, Mr. Kamruzaman Chaudhary and Atikur Rahman, maybe I should start with Mr. Atikur Rahman because he's an advocate also. Mr. Rahman, why are we opposing this demand from the likes of Mr. Bansal and Ms. Nirmal Kaur, who also sees a pattern here? Why be in denial about forced conversions if one were to believe what the father also said in passing in an interview?
Well, Rahul, I do not find anything serious about people who are demanding that there shouldn't be any laws related to forced conversions. If the government is in a mood or on a platform wherein concession can be built and a very strict law for luring people into conversion or forced conversion, I do not find any organization in India will be opposing it. Point number one. Another important factor to this particular related case is, since it is too sensitive, I would say it is juvenile on the part of the Hindutva forces who are, claiming this love jihad angle. It's a phantom concept to me. It is a phantom concept, Rahul, because, if there is love, there cannot be jihad. Jihad, we know in Indian terms by the Hindutva forces, is being used very loosely. For us, it is a Quranic concept, a very supreme concept, wherein people are demanded from Allah that you need to be careful related to the rights of the others. That's jihad. You need not be selfish. That's jihad. You need to curb your passions. That's jihad. So I do not understand this phantom concept brought in by the Hindutva forces. Third important point, Rahul, is the government of India, if it wishes to have a very harsh law towards these, things, crimes, heinous crimes, crimes of barbarity. And this is not the first case, Rahul, we are discussing. Since 2, 3, 4 years, since Nirbhaya, the things are getting very, very wild with these youngsters in the midst of the social media. I do not find why the government of India is so lethargic. Even as you said, the Supreme Court needs to come.
Because maybe there's lack of consensus, political consensus on this. If one requires a harsher punishment and a law that punishes forced conversions, there might be a lack of consensus, and that's what's holding it back. Let me bring in the Congress. Will the Congress oppose a national level law? You heard what the Supreme Court recently said, that forced conversions pose a massive threat to the nation's security. One requires the center to act. Would you, representing the Congress party, would the Congress party support such a proposition? If not, why?
Well, Rahul, the context of today's debate, you are taking it into a forced conversion law or something like that. But just permit me some initial moments, my observation of today's debate. Today the Madam Kaur, the former IPS officer, and Mr. Bansal of Vishwa Hindu Parishad, I feel along with millions of Indians that their statement today are very toxic, in fact. Why I say this is very toxic. A crime has happened. Nobody, not even the single individual out of the 135 crore Indian population will condone whatever happened in Delhi with the girl. Now the point is that having said that, condemned the incident, the brutality of the murder, But you know, these people like the Vishwa Hindu Parishad and
sir,
others
1 minute.
of the
Mr.
Hindutva
Chaudhary,
side,
Mr.
they're trying to
Chaudhary, 1 second,
stereotype the
Mr.
entire
Chaudhary,
incident.
1 second, Mr. Chaudhary, 1 second. Let me just point out a few things. Even a Kerala bishop, Joseph Kalarangat, has mentioned forced conversions. He's of course used the more, the euphemistic term for it, is a war strategy. This is what he has said. Then you have an ex-MLA.
Okay, let me.
Yeah,
okay, I got your point,
it is
Rahul.
not just some VHP, and Hindu group
what
thing.
you
also have had in the past certain.
Not only in India.
Huh? Sorry?
It's not only in India.
No, okay, Rahul, I got your point. Let me just
but
point out this.
Vinodji, one second, gentlemen. Let's not speak over each other. 1 second. But Vinodji, I just want to ask you this question because you are claiming that there is something like this. 1 second. Nirmal Kaur ji is also claiming this. But the center, and I'm talking about Junior Home Minister G. Krishan Reddy, he said in his reply in Parliament on February 4th, 2020, that there is no such case in Kerala. This is what the Parliament said. This is what the centre said in.
And to add to that, Rahul,
1 minute, Mr. Chaudhary. 1 minute.
2.5%
so I'm not understanding why does the centre. 1 minute,
in India.
1 minute, Mr. Chaudhary. Just let's clarify these issues. These are important. You have raised an issue. I have brought out how a bishop in Kerala has red flagged this issue. So this is obviously not something that is monopolizing only Hindu groups and their minds. You have had, in fact, even a term that was used by the NIA about forced conversions. And there has been talk that the Kerala High Court had also observed certain things. So, Bansal ji, pehle to ye center ka jara bataiye, why is the center not coming out and saying this? First of all, why is the BJP not then also sending its own representative on this debate if they believe what you believe? So, can you just explain this, number one? And then I'll come back to you, Mr. Chaudhary. I only asked you a simple question, and the question was, will you support a central-driven effort to impose a centrally driven law on forced conversion? So you have to answer that question, Mr. Chaudhary. But first, Mr. Bansal. Mr. Bansal, please go ahead.
हाँ राहुल जी मैं बड़ी ईमानदारी के साथ बड़ा स्पेसिफिक जवाब दूंगा आपको इस बात को कि देखिए जी कृष्ण रेड्डी ने जो स्टेटमेंट दिया था 2020 में आई डू एग्री विद यू दिस वाज द स्टेटमेंट गिवन ऑन द फ्लोर ऑफ द पार्लियामेंट बट आप ये देखिए कि जब तक कानून नहीं बनाओगे उसको लफ्जियात को डिफाइन नहीं करोगे तब तक आप उसमें लफ्जियाती की लिस्ट कहां से मिलेगी गृह मंत्रालय को कैसे पता लगेगा कोई लफ्जियात का कोई केस हुआ है दैट्स व्हाई वी आर अगेन एंड अगेन डिमांडिंग व्हाई द सुप्रीम कोर्ट एंड न्यूमरेबल हाई कोर्ट्स हैव डिमांडेड for the stricter law for the punishment of all those conversion missionaries.
Okay.
आप देखिए कि ये जो एंटी कन्वर्जन लॉ अगर आप बनाओगे मैं एक एग्जांपल देता हूं देखिए I'll show you one example. The law was made in the state of Uttar Pradesh, in 2020, and in the first 10 months of the enactment of the law, yani from 1st of January 2021 to 31st October 2021, there were 131 cases, 135 cases, sorry. 135 cases were registered in first 10 months of the enactment of the law, wherein 410 people were accused and 333 were the named accused. And out of this 135, within 10 months of the enactment of the law, 85 cases में आरोप पत्र दाखिल कर दिए. 82 बेटियों को 164 के बयान हो गए. और आपको ताज्जुब होगा राहुल 182 में से 35 वर दी माइनर गर्ल्स.
ओके
ये जो है ना आंकड़े कब आए आंकड़े तभी आए ये लफ्जियात के आंकड़े हैं ये लफ्जियात एंटी कन्वर्जन के आंकड़े हैं वो इसलिए आए क्योंकि वहां कानून बन गया. मैं ये कह रहा हूं कि भारत के अंदर अगर ऐसा कानून बन जाएगा तो डेफिनेटली अगली बार गृह मंत्री ये कहेगा कि देखिए मेरे पास एक नहीं हजारों केसेस हैं.
ठीक है. ओके सो मिस्टर चौधरी लेट मी ब्रिंग यू बैक इनटू दिस कन्वर्सेशन. वी टॉक्ड अबाउट कंसेंसस. Someone used that word consensus. I think it was the political analyst Atikur Rahman Saab who used the word consensus. Now I want to ask you, because V.S. Achyutanandan, when he was Kerala Chief Minister, said that the PFI is also in an organized manner planning to convert Kerala into a Muslim majority state. He said this in 2010, if you remember very clearly. He said they want to turn Kerala into a Muslim majority state in 20 years. They are using money and other inducements to convert people. So talking about strictly forced conversions here. They even marry women from outside their community in order to increase the Muslim population, unquote. So I'm only asking that if tomorrow the father of Shraddha comes out and wants this particular matter to be investigated as some sort of a religious crime, and there is once again a mass outpouring for the demand on the back of what the Supreme Court has also observed for an anti-conversion law, will the Congress come out and back it? Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand have come out with one. In Uttarakhand, you opposed it. Will you at the central level also refuse to accept and oppose, or will you work with the government and evolve a consensus? That's my simple question to you, sir.
No, Rahul, you must know how the law of the country works. The conversion law, it cannot be a federal law. It has to be an individual state law. There are 9 states in India that have got anti-conversion law as of now.
Okay.
The point that basically this is out here, what is the total religious conversion data in India right now? According to my sources, 2.5%.
One second, Mr. Chaudhary, why has then the Supreme Court asked the centre to act forthwith? In fact, it has sought a response. Why is it asking the centre then?
No,
how should the centre act?
If there is a problem, the Supreme Court will educate. There is no denying the fact.
So you don't want to take a call on it. You say let the Supreme Court adjudicate. Okay, viewers, look, these are very complex issues.
The point that I wanted to raise here, Rahul, is
okay, 1 second.
2.5%.
Sir,
2.5% of the religious conversions are happening in India. Inter-religious and inter-caste marriages are happening.
Sir, I'm not denying that. We are not talking about, even Ms. Nirmal Kaur is not talking about. Sir, please, she's also been very specific. We don't know, viewers, at this moment, there is nothing to suggest that this is a case. The Shraddha Aftab case is one of love jihad. There's nothing to, the police haven't come out and said that there was a forced conversion issue here, that someone was asking someone to convert and therefore it led to a fight. So right now, that is how the factual position is. There are a few people claiming this. The father, when prompted, said there is a likelihood of it. We have not seen movement on that. So viewers, we can't jump the gun. Right now, as Nirmal Kaur ji has been saying, what we need to establish is whether this individual is linked to this crime. That is the first stage. Maybe we are putting the cart before the horse here. There are people who are already beginning to wonder if this individual is going to walk, because all we have right now is an alleged confession. No one has seen the confession, viewers. No one has seen that it is under 161, let alone 167 of the CRPC. No one has seen even a fragment of the evidence. No one knows, apart from what sources are telling the media. So there is a real concern. Maybe we should be first focusing on ensuring that we have all the forensic evidence. We have the tools of the crime. We have digital forensics. We have recovered to make DNA match parts of the body that have been strewn all over in this ghastly, abominable fashion. Viewers, all of this is the first priority. Coming to the next question, the bigger questions we'll come to later. But let's at least focus on the investigation. One hopes that the police in the next 5 days can come up with something to convince the courts to extend. They had wanted 10-day custody, they only got 5. Let's hope the police can even build a case to hold this individual for 10 days. For now, viewers, I want to move on. We've had an informed